everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today, as you can tell, I'm out wearing a sundress, is the kind of ideal day to apply dormant oil or horticultural oil or all-season spraying oil on any broadleaf evergreens or conifers that you might have scale infestations on. Now, scale are soft-bodied insects, and right now, mid-February, is the ideal time to get them because you can smother them before they get into their crawler stage, which will happen in a few weeks' time as we get closer to spring. So scale primarily impact broadleaf evergreens and conifers, and today I'm going to be focusing on spraying all of my camellias that are infected with scale. So let's walk back into the woods so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So the trick to spraying oil efficiently is actually all about your sprayer. I found over the years, I've been spraying oil for like 20 years now. The sprayer that you would normally use, like a backpack sprayer or something that you would apply herbicide, might not actually have a fine enough mist for effective oil spraying. And so that's where I have found that this small handheld sprayer that's just like, you just pump it from still is really the ideal thing for the oil. In addition to the fact that I don't need gallons and gallons of oil, there's only 5 or 6 camellias that need to be sprayed. The other advantage of this type of sprayer is that it really lets me kind of get up in, you know, it's just really a convenient size. So I'd highly recommend, you know, looking for a sprayer like this that's specifically used just for oil. You'd really have to do some serious cleaning. I wouldn't recommend using a sprayer that you've used herbicide in to apply oil because you run the risk of there being some cross-contamination and the herbicide might end up killing your plants. So there's also a lot of different brands of oil, and this is just one from Bonide that I've had for years. This will probably be the year that I finish it. Generally speaking, oil is best to be applied on mild days when it's not really cold, but it's not really hot. And that's why today is such a perfect temperature. We've been too cold the last few weeks, but you know, in 3 weeks' time, we might start getting into the 80s. So now is the window for here in central North Carolina, zone 7, and likely a lot of other places on the East Coast and Southeast. So let's just pour some oil in, and then I will dilute it with a little bit more water. And I've lost the instructions, but generally it's like a tablespoon or so. That's probably enough, and then I'll just fill the rest of my sprayer up. And I'm quite certain that that will be plenty to be able to cover all the infected plants that I have in my garden. So let's get busy spraying. So how do you identify scale? Well, it's actually pretty obvious because the damage will come to the surface. So you see these yellow markings? That means there's scale on the underside. And you can see there's like the brown ones I think are dead, but the white ones are active. And so this whole plant has a lot, particularly low to the ground. They're usually on the lowest branches. And oh yeah, look at all that scale. So the goal with the oil is that, ooh, look at that. That's terrible. It's classic. Is to get the oil, you know, pushed up under the leaves. And you can see with this fine mister, it coats it really easily. And that's the goal. You're just trying to smother the scale and then they'll die. So you really do have to get up and under the plant. You know, covering just the tops of the leaves isn't actually going to kill the scale. Look at that leaf. Oh, terrible. But just like that, I have dealt with the problem. This poor plant was just absolutely infested, both on the underside, but also on the tops of the leaves. You can see there's actually scale like down the midrib, and then underneath all the leaves were just coated. So I've just put a lot of oil on here, and I know from experience that this plant will have a miraculous transformation, but I've definitely let this get out of hand. This is in a bad spot. The plant is probably stressed out because it gets too wet. This is here on the edge of the woodland, and it's not really raised high enough. Oddly enough, it's a plant that flowers really well, but probably because it's stressed. Stressed plants tend to get more disease and insect problems. I had to spray that plant so much that I actually did end up using all my oil. I just refilled. I just need to add some water so I can spray the rest of the camellias up closer to the house. So here I am at really my all-time favorite camellia. This is Jack's, Camellia japonica Jack's. And whenever somebody asks me, like, if there was one camellia you wouldn't live without, it's for sure this one. This has been in the ground 11 years. So it's probably 12 years old from a cutting, and you can see how well it's grown. It's really tight and quite columnar, and it's just filling this spot. Now obviously I've overplanted this area. Airflow is a critical component to not having scale buildup. So this one here happens to have quite a bit of scale infesting the bottom branches. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a thorough oiling. That way I will be able to fully enjoy my favorite camellia this spring when it starts to flower. You can see there's lots and lots of buds, but none are open yet. This is usually in bloom in March and April, which is also really nice because we don't tend to get as many cold nights during that time, so the buds don't kind of get burnt from frost. Well, I hope you found this video to be helpful. Please give me a like and be sure to subscribe to the Bree the Plant Lady YouTube channel for more practical gardening advice right here from my Zone 7 garden in Central North Carolina. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.